In this lesson, we'll build the rest of the swing arm. So this black piece right in here is the piece that we're going to be building in this instance. And so we wanted to have space for not only the wheel and the tire, but also for the pipes that we've got in here. And you can see that I've just gone ahead and done what we talked about in the last lesson as far as welding those together and then just creating that additional piece just using the same techniques that we used on this guy right here. Okay, and so let's go ahead and now build this, and we'll just build it from this left side. And so I'll just start with just a simple box, and we'll draw this out. Okay, give it just a little bit of thickness, maybe something like that. Let's go ahead and move it over into a position between the wheel and this piece that we've created here. Okay, now we need to give it some divisions. So let's go ahead and give it some segments here. And along the width, you can go ahead and give it a few segments. Okay, and then the height, I think we'll go ahead and leave that for now. Go ahead and turn that. And then let's go ahead and just kind of shape this from the side. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to turn the wheel off, the back wheel off for now. And so with our box selected, let's go ahead and convert this to an editable poly. And then let's take our vertices and just move these over a bit. Okay, this one I'm going to bring down kind of right in here. And so let's just go ahead and shape this from the side. All right, not taking into account this piece right here quite yet. Okay, we'll go ahead and pull this up a little bit. Maybe this comes down. So it's at a bit of an angle there. Okay, right in here. Then we'll go ahead and bring it over. And then this can be the kind of the tallest or highest point there. And then this will start to come down. And then all the way down here. Okay, we want to extend it past this pivot, which is where this whole thing is going to pivot from. Okay, and so we'll just kind of straighten this up a little bit so we end up with something like that. Okay, so in our perspective, this is what that will look like. And you can maybe thin it out just a little bit. All right, so we've got the shape from the profile. Okay, now we need to add a little bit of sharpness to some of these edges. We can go ahead and get rid of this edge on the end, this polygon on the end. Okay, we can go ahead and select some of these lines here. So we'll go ahead and let's go to select. Go ahead and select the ring. And then we'll just do connect, slide that to the outside. If you want to check the shape of this a little bit better, you can go ahead and do your NURBS toggle there. And then we'll go to the left and just check it and make sure it's all right. So we could always bring this up a little bit. You could also add a little bit of resolution in there if you wanted to. Okay, so we also have these indentions in here along the side. So we want to make sure that we add those at some point. Okay, so let's go ahead and take these polygons right here. Let's go ahead and inset those. Okay, so we get something like that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and bevel those. So we'll go by local normal. We'll take the height down to something negative. Take that outline amount down. Something like that. Okay, you can see we are getting a little crisscrossed right in here. So we'll go ahead and say OK to that. Take these vertices and try to move them on the other side of one another and just kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay, so we end up with something kind of like that. And over here. Okay, so just clean that up a little bit. And then if you want to come in and add extra edge loops to kind of harden that up, you can do that just by selecting that ring, and again doing our connect with our two segments, just pulling that out a little bit. Say OK to that, and you can check that again by just smoothing that. Go to your subdivision surface and up the iterations, and you can kind of check and see what that looks like. Okay, so then we want to do the same thing over here on this side. If I go ahead and turn that off, and just do the same thing here. So we'll do an inset, some amount that's comparable to the one at on the other side. Say OK to that, bevel that in. Say OK to that. And then we might want to come in and take a look at the points here. So I think these are actually okay. They're just a little bit too close maybe. And then we'll select that edge along with that ring, and then connect on there to add the hardness to those edges. All right. So now what we'd like to do is just create the other side as well. Okay. And I'm going to turn the back wheel back on for a minute, just to make sure we're okay. And so I want to go ahead and mirror this over to the other side. Okay, I want to make sure that I've got everything on there that I want. In this case, I want to also add this back piece in here. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a tube. Let's just pull that up and give it some thickness. Okay, and I'll just pull this over here. Okay. And let's go ahead and just make it a little bit thinner. And instead of thinner, let's actually make that a little bit wider. And I'm going to dial this number of sides down. And let's go ahead and change this down to something like 6, I believe. And then we'll go ahead and turn this. So we get something like that. Okay, we can change the radius, make it a little bit thicker. Okay, can kind of move it back into position there. Just kind of position that correctly. All right. And then we can go ahead and get rid of some of these faces here. You could also turn on slice and do it that way. But I'll just convert this and grab these polygons. Go ahead and get rid of those. Grab this border. Let's go ahead and cap it. Same thing down here. We'll cap that. Okay, and then we could take those polygons and just push them out. So I get something like that. All right. And then we can come in and kind of fill this in with geometry. So just grab both of those, bridge them across. Okay. Go ahead and bring that forward. So you get something like that. And then you can fill those in. Fill this part in right here. Just delete those polygons, grab that border and cap it. And then do the same thing over here on the back side, if you wanted to. All right. So now we've got that piece. It's kind of added on there where that bolt's going to go. And we can go ahead and just make that part of the mesh by attaching it if we want to do that. Take these vertices and maybe move them back. So we end up with something like that. So anything you want to add on this side before you actually mirror it over would probably be good. So we'll go ahead and just attach this. Hit geometry, attach. And then I'm going to use the working pivot and just mirror this over to the other side, make a copy. So we end up with both of these. Okay, let's go ahead and attach them together. Okay, so both of these are now the same, part of the same object here. Okay, and now we need to start to connect some of these areas together. So I'm going to take both of these, okay, right here, and then these faces. Take all those faces, and let's just do a quick inset. Okay, something like this. Alright, and now what I want to do is take this face and go ahead and just bridge those across. Okay, so something like that. Let's give it a few segments. Okay, and you end up with some geometry across there. Just kind of closes that in a little bit. Alright, and if you want to tighten that up, you could come in here with the ring and go ahead and connect that across just one, and then slide that over. Okay to that. Select that ring, and then move that over. Alright, and then if you wanted to tighten that whole thing up, if you don't want it to be so doughy, you select this ring right around there and just tighten that up. Okay, put a couple in there, take the slide off, and then just pull it out a little. Alright, and then when you kind of smooth that, you get something that looks a bit like that. Turn our subdivision up a little bit. Okay, so in this case we probably want to come in and you might want to add a little bit more res up in here or right along this direction. And I would go ahead and, since we're going to be smoothing this, I'd go ahead and probably, now that we've got this copied over, we can go ahead and take both of these and detach those so that we don't have to smooth them. So it helped us to kind of copy that over to the other side, but now that we've got it copied, we don't necessarily need it over there. Okay, so to tighten this up, I'm just going to do one last thing, and that's going to be to select this ring. Go ahead and do a connect on there to just tighten this transition area up a little bit, and then smooth it out. And it should look a little bit better there. Okay, so that's going to pivot at this point right here, and it's going to attach the back wheel basically to the rest of the bike. Okay, so now that we've got the kind of swing arm built in, let's go ahead and tackle some of the parts of the engine. And so we're not going to be able to create every single little piece of the engine, but we'll try to get some of the major pieces and look at some pieces that are a little bit different and how we can build those. So the next one, the first thing that we'll do is build some simple parts, some covers going along these cylinders. So we'll go ahead and start to do that next.